I am Paula Dance. I am the Pitt County Sheriff here in North Carolina. I became the first African American sheriff in Pitt County. I also became the first female sheriff in Pitt County. And on top of that, I became the first African American female sheriff in the state of North Carolina. And actually, there are probably only 7 or 8 female African American sheriffs in the entire country. So this is a big accolade when I became sheriff of Pitt County. I became sheriff in 2018 when I decided to run for sheriff of Pitt County. My old sheriff had decided that he was no longer going to run. And so I decided at that time I was third in command. I had previously in 2013 become the first female major here at Pitt County Sheriff's Office. That made me third in command of the entire agency. So moving back beyond then, I started my career almost 30 years ago as a patrol officer. At first I started in Martin County, which is my home county, and I didn't have to grow up thinking that I wanted to be in law enforcement, let alone the sheriff. So I actually needed a job, and I went into Martin County Sheriff's Office one day, applied, got a job as a clerk, and then I had this epiphany. This is what, I found my niche. I found what made me happy going to work every day. And so I decided to send myself through the academy, and made it through the academy. And when I came back to Martin County, I said, hey, here's my certificate. I've made it through the academy. They swore me in, gave me a gun and a badge, and said, we don't believe in women being on the road, so you're still gonna have to be a clerk. And so, I didn't let that stop me. I got in my car, drove over here to Pitt County, put in an application. They called me the next day, and within a month, I became a patrol deputy. I stayed a patrol deputy for about 3 years, and I ranked up to sergeant of the domestic violence unit. After then, I was promoted up to a major crimes investigator. And as a major crimes investigator, my area of expertise was sexual child molestation cases and physical abuse. But at the same time, I worked homicides, and I just ended up catching some of the most high-profile homicide cases here in the county. After then, I was promoted up to lieutenant of investigations. Subsequently, I was promoted up to captain of investigations. And again, in 2013, I became the major of the entire agency. I knew that when my sheriff decided that he was no longer going to run, I looked around me and I thought, I'm the most qualified person here. And certainly I've had, people who I don't know if it was, intentionally, but, well, you're a woman, there's never been an African American to do this. And it was, maybe they were playing devil's advocate in giving me another angle to look at as I made that decision to run. But remember, this is a girl who was told after she went through the academy that they didn't believe in women being on the road. Well, I made them a believer. And I was not gonna let that stop me. And so here I am today through hard work, integrity, building those relationships out in the community. People knew that I was compassionate about what I did. This wasn't just a job for me. This was just something that I was very, very impassioned about. And they saw fit to vote me in and make me the sheriff of Pitt County. Our regular challenges here in Pitt County and in North Carolina is the same as it is all over the country. Dealing with the opioid crisis, trying to figure out ways to reduce crime, those kinds of things. It's just the regular everyday things, just because, I happen to be a woman that did not make the crime any different. It didn't make the issues any different. I do try to tackle them in a way that I feel is appropriate. So for me, one of the things that I've done is I've started a program in our detention center that is focused on trying to deal with the issues that bring people into our detention center in the first place. And when you think about those issues, we're talking about poverty, we're talking about substance use disorder, and mental illness. And those were the things that I felt that I needed to tackle on the back end. You know, of course, as a law enforcement officer, as the sheriff, I'm going to enforce the laws of the state of North Carolina. But I have a moral obligation as well to try to keep people out of our detention center because it's cheaper. It's $80 a day to house a person in our detention center. Of course, the taxpayers are burdened with that. What if we did not have those people in our detention center? What if those people were made whole and healthy and contributed to the community? What if they became employable and became tax-paying citizens? And so those are the things that I focus on trying to figure out what makes our community better, what makes our community healthy. And so I guess that's the biggest challenge, is trying to you know, of course we're going to enforce the law, but figure out ways that we help people. Law enforcement is not, the intent should never be to go out and just arrest everybody. We cannot arrest our way out of these things that we're finding ourselves into today. So let's look at the other end of it. Let's look at what we can do to make and have a healthy community. The most exciting part of my job, again, that can be many, because every day is a different day, and you never know what your day is going to be like as sheriff. One of the things that I'm most excited about is coming in and recognizing that, you know, there are things that we need here at the sheriff's office that, or in this county, that has been much needed, and being an advocate for getting those tools and things that we need here at the sheriff's office is very exciting for me. You know, I have to play mental chess sometimes with the county commissioners and trying to figure out how we can get those things. And but I've been pretty successful thus far. We're moving forward to having body cameras, which we should have had a long time ago. Drones is another thing that we're looking forward to. And that also gives great morale to the officers. Some of the things that I've done here with the law enforcement officers, I think that's gone over pretty big, is recognizing this is 2020 and we have to move with the times. And for many years, officers had to be clean shaven. I have now put in a policy where these officers can grow a beard. It has to be maintained at a half an inch, and it has to be groomed, you know, very neatly. And those officers are very excited about that. The men, I don't think it's too many women excited about it. We don't like facial hair, but it's a morale booster. It is a booster to say that, hey, we're with the times. And we've been having problems all over the country with people getting into law enforcement and choosing this as a career. And sometimes that's stifled by the mere point of the fact that they can't be who they are, and they become this different persona when they are in uniform. And so, no, I don't want tattoos all over the face, but you know, I've been amenable to officers having arm tattoos. This is the 21st century. People have tattoos. And so I think that's been really, really big, fighting for these guys to get raises, to make sure that, you know, there's never an amount of money that you can put on a life. But these are people who run in when everyone else runs away. And again, you know, it's a very dangerous job. And when we look at people right around us in our same community, officers who do less but make more, then and not to say that you know, I mean, officers are great in no matter what capacity, whether they're police officers or deputy sheriffs. It's just that deputy sheriffs have so many more responsibilities that only the deputy sheriff can do, or only the sheriff can do. And it kind of sucks to get paid less than people in our own community who don't have all of that responsibility. So I'm fighting for these guys. I'm fighting for this agency. I'm fighting, you know, it's exciting to be a part of the oldest constitutional office in America. and to bring that esteem back, to have our rightful place in our community and in the United States. Is always challenging, and it's very exciting, and just the mere job itself is exciting. Every day is a different day. Well, thank you guys for watching. It's been exciting sitting here and talking to you guys today about my past, my present, and my future. Hope you guys learned something today that you didn't know about me, but just know that I am humbled and excited to be a woman and leading this agency, and I hope that it inspires other people of color, people who are women, who know that they can, because I did.